the Ultimate Predator. You're listening to Bobby and Brandon on the Pucks Out podcast. And if you don't tune in every week, every day, every minute, every hour, I'm going to show up on your doorstep and give you the Smashville Shuffle for the 1, 2, 3.
From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into another episode of the Pucks Out Podcast. I'm Bobby Butler. He's Brandon Bond.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open a cold beer and let's get after it.
Let's do it. Got a little spray on your computer there, buddy. That was my B. That's my B.
Oh, that's a good beer.
Yeah, Burrow Blonde. It's a great Mayday classic, man.
Good,
It's
easy
not,
drinker.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much complaint from either of us.
Don't forget, guys, to check out our What a Maneuver store, where you can get all the apparel you need and everything that helps make this podcast just a little bit better. We're still working on getting coveralls. And and don't forget, we're still doing the 100 subs promo on YouTube. Coming soon, we'll have some exclusive YouTube content, maybe some fantasy football stuff, which will eventually be up on Patreon, but we're going to give you guys a little sample and put that stuff up on YouTube. How you been, bud?
All right. I mean, I've been without power a lot of the day and internet, so getting that back has been nice. That was awful. But like in most of Nashville, like 130K straight line wins.
That's
man.
good. Yeah, we right after it hit, y'all hit us about maybe 30 minutes later, and it was bad for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah,
a couple limbs down, but nothing too bad down in Shelbyville.
It was about 15 minutes here, but I mean, a lot of trees falling, so hit a lot of power lines and stuff, man. Gotta go underground with these bad boys.
And may the 4th be with you, bud.
Yeah, may the 4th be with you, man. Hey,
cheers on that.
Cheers.
Cheers. How was your weekend?
Oh, not bad. Did a little bit of movie watching. I think we're going to talk a bit about it later.
Yeah.
But not bad. Been watching a little bit of that Last Dance, bro. I know we're gonna
we'll get into that
coverage
soon.
on that. So.
Yeah, but coming up later in the episode, we've got an awesome interview with the Ultimate Predator. We've got some news. We finished off the Central Division today.
Finishing off the West, man.
But a little news and updates. Got big news. I'm going back to school. I graduated from MTSU back in 2016. I'm going back to get some journalism classes to make this podcast the best.
Big news. It's not going to help. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for those of you watching at home. But no, that's super awesome. I ought to take advantage of something like that. I mean, I get a free class a year from working for the state. So
that's dope.
Maybe I'll join you so I can cut class and feel cool again.
But speaking of college, I did do something this weekend that I probably haven't done since sophomore year of college. Finished off an entire bottle of whiskey by myself.
Yeah.
And I it's a lot harder when you're older than when it was in college.
Yeah, you kind of tried to push off our doc meeting, and I was like, oh, well, sooner the better. I'm getting out and grilling. That's what else I did this week. I knew I did something. Did a lot of grilling on my new grill.
Yeah.
3.5 hours of putting it together and only had to take it apart and switch pieces once, bro. So that's like a good victory on a grill setup.
All right, let's get into some news from around the sports world. Where the NHL not looking closer to return. There was a bunch of rumors that they were getting ready, but pretty much they came out and said that, Phase 1 might be done mid-June, but then we have no idea how long Phase 2 is going to take.
Right. I mean,
Phase 3, they pretty much said, we don't know.
They're just like, they just think the words phase are cool.
They're
like, we're gonna toss it out there that we're in Phase 1.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks go by, people were like, bro, Phase 1 is going great. Boom, Phase 2.
Yeah.
We're
it's like,
in
how
it.
long is this phase? We don't know.
Well, we can't speak to that yet. Like it's like a general news cycle. They're like, all right, here's a dip. We got a good opportunity here. The Last Dance just came out. Release some news.
The Little League World Series has been canceled this year.
Man. You mean we don't get to get dominated by like Thailand or Singapore or China or something again this year?
To be honest, I don't like the Little League World Series.
I freaking love it, dude.
So here's the reason.
Awesome.
I think it's great for the kids, But what turns me off of it is the grown ass men who don't have kids in it who go crazy about it. Like, listen, if your kid's playing, by all means, go crazy, paint up. But to see these like 50-year-old men going crazy over a sport where they have no family in it, it's just kind of weird.
Bobby, I think that's super unfair to the great people of Omaha, Nebraska, when that is literally the only thing that happens. They can order from Omaha Steaks and get some good local discounts.
Not a sponsor.
And not a sponsor yet. Hopefully, hey, holla at your boy. I love some Omaha Steaks.
Yeah.
And number two, they are like, finally, we get to go and we get to cheer. They don't have a professional sports team, Bobby. Little League World Series is their claim to fame. So, no, but I love the Little League World Series. But for obviously, like, I'm exactly like that on like high school football, just like grown adults that have no standing in it and going and watching high school football.
Just because it's the high school they went to 40 years ago,
or
it's
even
weird.
not. But see, some people just like gravitate towards their hometown high school team.
That's
like
weird.
It's very strange.
Like, there were 2 times in your life when you're allowed to cheer for a high school football team. You go to that high school, or your kid goes to that high school.
Yeah, maybe like if you're maybe on the outskirts, if like you're like a teacher, you're associated.
Yeah, because you have an
program.
association with the program.
You know some kid, but like, hey, you got a family friend and their kid wants you to come to their football game. You go to that football game, obviously. But I'm talking about people that just suit up, get ready to go. They got those little seat thingies, and
they have like season tickets
to they get them delivered by a carrier pigeon, and it's a big deal. So yeah, that's always been strange to me too. So yeah, no, obviously there has to be some middle ground between not liking the college baseball World Series and liking it and not having to paint your body to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
moving on, unfortunately this morning we lost Don Shula, Hall of Fame coach, the winningest coach in NFL history. 328 wins, the 1972 Dolphins, perfect season.
I was about to say, still the final perfect season.
2-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time if you include the NFL champion before the merger.
Talking about the 72 Dolphins, talk about a group of guys that get really, really extremely butthurt every time somebody's about to approach being undefeated. They get they'll never be able to do it. Like, dude, you're so clearly jealous of them, man. Like, you've done it already. You're the first. But I've never seen a group of old men get so excited when a team loses a football game. It is absurd to me. They're like, Tom Brady, he'll never be it.
Yeah.
Even the Tom Brady thing I can kind of get because it's the Patriots. Okay, they're like a rival of yours but like anytime anybody did it, Peyton and Drew Brees that year, they both were at 14-0. And they were just not having it. I've always been like, what is up with, like, dude, it happened in 72. Like, there was a good chance 50% of the players on the opposing side of the field were on acid, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
They were smoking Virginia Slims on the sideline.
They were literally leaning into their face masks to hit bumps of coke, dude.
All right, so speaking of the first to do a world record this weekend, and actually this is the reason why I pushed off the outline review.
That was the first time. You tried it again on the morning up.
Half-Thor Julius Bronson from Iceland broke the deadlift record. He hit 501 kilograms, which comes out to be about 1,104 pounds. Ridiculous amount of weight, beating the last record of 500 kilograms by Eddie Hall.
I've watched at least 501 minutes of TV this weekend, so I feel like I should be.
So I watched it live, and right after, and they cut away from it. Apparently, they have a boxing match, and Half-Thor called him out. So it's gonna be the heaviest boxing match in history.
Let's get 2 more guys, put them on their shoulders, making this like a chicken style.
Oh,
fight. You know what I'm saying?
Get 2 horse jockeys on their shoulders.
Trench coat it though, so it looks like one. So it's like Vincent from BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Vincent Adultman. Business things.
All right, time to get into our GM grades part 4, where we finish off the Central Division. Why don't you start us off with those assholes in St. Louis, who are also first in the division?
They're terrible. That's it, man. That's all. No.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. No, seriously. St. Louis, unfortunately, you threw them to me because I know your immense dissatisfaction in being able to speak. You know, you hate somebody and you can never speak any good on them.
And here's the thing, I can speak good about them. I will not speak good about Jordan Bennington.
Right. And so obviously that's not going to put us at a very fair grading position for everybody. So I took them, and I'm going to let you have Dallas, and you got your own, qualms with Dallas, but
I respect Dallas.
I'm gonna guide you through it. All right, so players over $7 million. Ryan O'Reilly, gotta say, $7.5 million, worth every freaking penny of it, man. I mean, he's able to provide some offensive power, but what is probably not understated in the hockey world, but just as a casual fan is looking out, I mean, it says something to be able to send a guy out there to win 20 faceoffs a game. I mean, that makes a difference. When you have the puck, you can score more easily. I feel like John Madden right there. In order to score, you have to have the puck. So Ryan O'Reilly really getting their money's worth out of O'Reilly. Only $20K in the salary cap available, which is not a whole lot, but again, running the top of the Central for the entirety of the year, they've pretty much got their money's worth out of the players that they do have on roster. Not great draft capital, but not terrible draft capital for a team atop their division, looking to compete for the second year in a row, the defending Cup champion, St. Louis Blues. We got a first round pick still. No second round, a third round pick, a fourth round pick, 2 5th-round picks, and that is it. So no 6th or 7th round. But obviously, again, as we just said, you're sitting atop the division. You're not going to have a lot of draft capital, besides the fact that you don't necessarily need it because it's so far in the back of the draft. Some good for them. Pareko's contract, $5.5 million with 2 years left. Didn't really slow down after losing Tarasenko. I mean, they played fantastic hockey even after he went out for injury, and we're talking about one of the quietest superstars in the league, in my opinion. I mean, he's so good at meshing with what is needed from him that I feel like a lot of times he gets overlooked as a true superstar. I mean, he's not even on that making $7 million a year list, so that should speak volumes to the production they're getting out of Tarasenko. Power play, great power play, 24.3%. I mean, 1 out of every 4 times you get a power play, you score a goal, you're gonna win. You're gonna win hockey games. It's hard to beat that team when they get a 1-man advantage, and with the makeup of their roster, they're quite frequently drawing penalties. I mean, they got a bunch of big guys that you have to try to outmuscle, and a lot of times that outmuscling will turn into a slash or a holding or something along those lines. So team grade, I would say that it's pretty hard not to give an A+. Right? I would say probably an A+, man. Yeah. I mean, they, again, 1 player over that $7 million. That is a feat, and especially staying hungry all year after winning a cup already. So Bennington obviously in the good category as well. Probably some of the bad. Penalty kills not great, 18th in the league, so it was about 79.3%. But again, when you're making up for it by scoring on your own power plays, it's not as terrible of a thing to not be as strong there. GM, I would say, making great moves, nothing super flashy. A-. I would say A-, B+. Let's go A-. All right. That's pretty much all that I got on the St. Louis Blues. I think you're going to take us into Dallas now.
Yeah. So down in Dallas, they've got 3 players over $7 million, which is a lot for a team that's not, first in their division.
Yeah, right. And especially with one of them specifically.
Yeah. They got Tyler Seguin, 9.85, Jamie Benn, 9.5, and Joe Pavelski right there at 7. Not great for the way those guys have been forming. And here's the really bad part: is their salary cap available. And we had to double check this when we got in here today. It's $815, not $815,000, $815.
Can't even get a good towel boy for that.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't even probably afford 2 tickets to their own game.
At that point, why don't you just toss an extra $815 on somebody's contract? Let's even this out.
Yeah, draft capital. They've got none in the 2nd and 3rd and the 7th. They've got 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 4th and 5th, and 2 in the 6th. Not great, not bad. I mean, kind of middle of the road, kind of what you'd expect. I think they thought they would be more of a contender than they are. So, but some of the good things, that John Klingberg contract, he's been the breakout star from them this year. 4.25 and 2 years left. Their defense has been astonishing this year. When they're on, that defense is crazy. We saw that when the Preds shut them out. It took a while for us to get past that great defense.
Yeah.
but we just needed one. They have 2.52 goals allowed per game, and their goaltending has been very strong this year. So they definitely have a foundation they can build upon.
Definitely.
Some of the bad things, it's been a roller coaster of a season for them. They started 1-2-1, then they ended up going 14-1-1. So they kind of turned things around. The firing of Jim Montgomery started, and then they started strong with the new coach, but then they lost the final 6 games before the break, and two of those being the back-to-back shutouts by the Preds. They need more offense. If they're going to contend, they got to get some goal scorers in there.
Yeah, well, I feel like they need to get guys that they're paying $9.5 million to score goals. It's really the problem. It's not that they don't have the pieces there. I mean, with Alexander Radulov and Jamie Benn and Sagan, they have the players. They have the guys there to make moves. They got offensive defensemen. I mean, it's just more been a lack of scoring in itself, just not producing, really.
Them and the Preds, they're a very similar team. Them and the Preds, top line not producing. They're relying on their defense. Goaltending's got to be strong if they want to win games. So I think for the next couple of years, Nashville and Dallas are going to be going toe to toe, fighting for the second, third spot in the division. So team, I would say C+, maybe just a straight C. GM. Now I put on here that they got a winter class. I believe getting a winter classic and outdoor series, at a minimum, puts a GM at a B. That's your starting position, because that's huge for a franchise. That's huge for a fan base. So considering that your starting point's a B, I would say, bringing in the new coach who seems to be strong, just needs to get back on track. I would say B+.
Okay.
GM.
I'm okay with that. So moving into Nashville, we can kind of talk about them together since we don't have an even number of Central Division teams.
Until Seattle comes in.
Until old Seats comes in. And they're
the Rain City Pigeons.
I hope they make their team name the Supersonics, dude.
That'd be dope.
Or the Super Sonarks. Because it's a different sport. Sonar is similar to the sun. You got it. Players over $7 million. Matt Duchene, Joey, and Yossi's new contract this year will put them over $7 million. Not getting probably what you want from Ryan Johansson at $8 million.
No. But one thing we will talk about later is when I was doing the research, I was looking through the Pred stats, finding something that they were just top 10 or 5 in. The only category I'd come up with was face-off percentages. They're number 4 in the league in face-offs. Yeah. So I guess that's a credit to Ryan Johansson. He's strong in the face-off circle.
Yeah, but you pay big money for face-offs
$8 million
in addition to other things.
Yeah, those $8 million needs to come with goals.
And when he's on, when he's feeling it, he's a great two-way forward.
Yeah.
His defensive play is so underrated, but it's almost like you got to light that fire under him to get him going.
Yeah, and he's got to learn to actually shoot instead of just he always looks for the pass.
Yeah. I mean, it's Gene Hacker's dream. But no, so you got to get more for Johansson. At that price, it makes it hard to deal anyway.
So their salary cap available in Nashville is $2.4 million. They're definitely going to have some decisions to make this coming offseason. The biggest of which we'll get to, and we've talked about this on the show before, is the Craig Smith-Granlund decision. What are they going to do there? We're going to talk more about that in detail. What does their draft capital look like?
Draft capital, we have a first, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, no fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, no seventh. So not horrendous.
We got to make those first 3 rounds count.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Depends on really what draft position we get. We definitely need to make some good moves and get some depth pieces into Milwaukee.
Yeah. Luckily, one of those seconds is from New Jersey, so that should be a pretty high second round that we get.
Yeah, hopefully so. That's definitely an advantage we have to kind of get a late first and then another opportunity right close to the top of the second too.
So some of the good things, the Ekholm contract is amazing for the productivity that he gives us. 3.75 with 2 years left, and this one's even better. Is the Ryan Ellis is always up there with Norris talk. Not this year as much, but he
missed 20 games.
Yeah,
missed a fourth of the season.
So I mean, his contract is 6.25 and 6 years remaining. He's got a lot of time left on that, and I think that's a great contract for us. The face-offs, we talked about that earlier. They're 52.5%, which is 4th in the league. and their bottom lines have been stepping up when needed. And that takes us,
Smith.
Yeah, and that takes us directly into the bad, which is our struggling top forwards, man.
Yeah. Rene, disappointing season, obviously. Saros had strong stretches and looked like a goalie of the future at times. And then there were times where he'd just come out and get shellacked for 3 games. So it's always interesting to see, kind of where the Preds are going to go forward. And a couple of weeks ago on the pod, we had that interview with Zach McCann talking up our goalie down in Milwaukee and how he has a great opportunity. So future looks great, but if we're talking bad right now, goalie struggles were definitely at the top of the list. Special teams as always, man. As always, power play, what was it? Was it 25 at 17.5%? Yeah. That number feels so much lower than 17.5%. I didn't feel like I almost 1 out of every 5 times we got on the power play we scored. And the penalty kill, 29th at 76.1, man. I mean, you're letting a team almost score 25% of the time when they get on the ice against you. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, and you're not making up for it with your own power play. So it kind of goes in the face against what we were talking about with St. Louis and how they have a great power play and not a great penalty kill, but it doesn't matter because they have a great power play. So
yeah, it's hard to grade this team because really the Preds are 2 different teams when they're hot and when they're not. So, but I think overall they are the definition of a C minus team, to be honest.
I say C. I mean, they were making moves up the board. They're in a playoff position. I think C is the right call. But we're talking about a team that could have been, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying we could have been atop the division all year, but we could have been sitting 2nd or 3rd all year with some consistent play.
Yeah.
So I say C is a good call because of the nice little run we were on, but we can't forget the previous to the run. Yeah. Obviously. GM.
They had a Winter Classic.
You said your flat line was B. I love David Poyle to death, but I say B is the B. Yeah. If you're giving them the B for getting that Winter Classic, I don't think that enough was done on his end anywhere past that.
Yeah, because here's the thing: these grades are for this season, not previous seasons accumulated. Next season, and what he does this coming up off season is really going to be telling about where this franchise is going and his future with the franchise.
Definitely. So I guess we'll give him the baseline of a B, but I could sit here and argue it was closer to a B minus or a C plus if it wasn't for getting the additional Winter Classic that we got, and now the talks of potentially getting Stadium Series soon in the works. So,
that wraps up the Central Division. We'll be back next week with the first half of the Metro.
Let's do it.
We're getting there, but now let's move in to the Ultimate Predator interview from a couple weeks ago. All right, everyone. Our next guest needs no introduction, but since there's no video, obviously he does. We've got the official lucha of the Preds. He's the spokes lucha for Goodwood Hockey, and it has over 10 years of professional wrestling experience. Hailing from Nashville, Tennessee, it's the Ultimate Predator. How's it going, Ulti?
Oh, same as everybody else, sitting on my couch, doing nothing, staring at the wall.
How's this quarantine treating you?
Well, it's... I've been quarantined before the quarantine started, unfortunately, but it is what it is. We're getting by. Fortunately, I'm not alone. I've got Courtney here with me, so we're keeping each other sane. We're all in this together. You do what you got to do until everybody's safe again. And if that means sitting at home and playing video hockey all day, well, so be it.
Who would have known that staying at home and playing video games would make you an American hero these days?
I've been training for this moment for years.
We're finally here. We can finally raise up.
I don't like to toss the title hero around a lot, but in this case, I think we've earned it.
We're going to be the Time People of the Year for sure.
I have my Presidential Medal of Freedom in the mail. They said it was in the mail with my check.
Yeah. So, what got you originally into hockey? What was your first hockey memory looking back?
So, actually, my first hockey memory was my father and I when we were in Philadelphia. I moved here from Philadelphia 2 some odd years ago. And the first game I ever went to was at the Spectrum. So again, I'm giving away my age here, but was it the Spectrum? It was the Flyers and the Penguins, and I got to sit back and watch my favorite player, who became my favorite player. I didn't know anything about hockey when we walked into this, but became my favorite player. John LeClair skate on the ice and play with the Flyers against the Penguins, and of course that interstate rivalry between the Flyers and Pens, and back in the late '80s, early '90s, they were brutal. They were brutal, and immediately fell in love with the speed of the sport, the physicality of the sport, and so that's my first memory. And I was a Flyer fan until we moved down to Nashville, and I was here before the Preds were. So when it was announced that Nashville was getting a National Hockey League team, I went ahead and said, look, that's it. The Flyers can be, number 2, but I'm a Preds guy. I'm a Preds guy now.
So obviously, of being a part of the entire history of the Preds, is there a favorite Preds moment that you have, or let's say a moment that if you weren't a Preds fan, it would have been the moment you became a Preds fan?
The first game was cool. I mean, it really was cool. The way they tried to draw the people in, and I know everybody likes to try to make fun of the poster board rules of hockey or whatever. But look, it was a new franchise, new town, new sport. Nobody in Tennessee could spell hockey, much less tell you what it is. But but it was cool. The experience was cool. My go-to favorite memory is still walking into the arena. Being one of the first ones there to walk into the arena for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. That first home game for the Stanley Cup Final, seeing the Stanley Cup Final logo painted on the ice, the chill that comes to the arena when you first walk in those doors, and the chill just running up my spine, going, this is it. This is Mecca. Not only am I at a Stanley Cup Final game, but it's my Stanley Cup Final game. It's my team. Yeah. It's my home. It's, it was incredible. And, of course there's always, the go-tos, the first playoff victory, the first series victory, the triple overtime that I didn't get home until 2:00 in the morning and had to turn around and go to work. Those are always the memories that I love to talk about. But yeah, that first Stanley Cup home game, all the stuff that I did pre-game and all the stuff that I did post-game, and yeah, it was great.
Anyone who listens to this podcast knows that we are big beer aficionados. We love drinking beer. We love talking beer. What would be your go-to beer, especially during this quarantine time, that you want to drink?
I think legally I have to say Thanks Paul by Tailgate Brewery. and not just because my face is on it.
Well, Tailgate puts out some great beers.
Yeah.
So to have your face on a Tailgate beer is definitely something to brag about, and it's something I bring up any chance I got too. So,
and hey, Tailgate, if you're listening, we're always open to a new sponsor.
Can't have enough beer sponsors.
It is a good beer. Now, Tailgate. The thing I like about the Nashville local brewing scene is nobody's trying to copy each other. Tailgate comes up with some really wild ideas in their beers. One of my favorites that they've put out recently, aside from Thanks Paul, which isn't available anymore, is they called it Mountain Shandy, and it's a shandy beer that's primarily brewed with Mountain Dew.
Oh wow!
It tastes like Mountain Dew. It is a dangerous beer.
So that's perfect for the quarantined gamer that doesn't have to go to work tomorrow.
But the other breweries are amazing. Black Abbey does their run of beers. A big fan of the 44 stout that they put out. I've always been a huge supporter of Yazoo beer. I'm a big fan of the Gersthaus beer that they put out. Always been a big fan of Fat Bottom. Jackalope. Fat
Bottom's great. Yeah, I was gonna say Jackalope's a really good one to throw in there. Have you ever been to Zahn's? I think it's down off of.
I have not yet.
It's a cool little tap room. I wouldn't say that the beer is as good as some of these other breweries that we're talking, but definitely the cool feel of being downtown, being in the brewery. I think that's a cool place to check out.
I haven't been. The one of my favorite tap rooms is Tennessee Brew Works. They've got a great tap room as well. It's also downtown, but I haven't been. I hear the new Yazoo tap room in Madison that they just built, and they built theirs from the ground up. I hear that it's a great place to hang out.
I've heard that too, man.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
I think after this quarantine's done, we're going to do some video bits. I think one of them might be hitting all the breweries in Nashville and whenever. Every time we travel, when we went up to, I guess last year when we went up to Minneapolis, we hit probably 15, 20 different breweries. So we love brewery hopping. So that's, we'll have to have you on as a guest for a couple of those videos of brewery hopping.
And we remember at least half of our breweries that we go to too. So
yeah. No, let me know. Let me know for sure. There's a couple of people I can probably get you in touch with to help out with that a little bit too. So yeah, let me know. I'd be glad to. Look, you want me to go around and drink beer? Oh, twist my arm.
Well, and especially after this few month long quarantine that we've been in. I mean, I'll go hang out with anybody at this point.
It is our duty.
even we're looking appetizing to hang out with.
I mean, it's our duty to pump money into this Nashville economy, and so the breweries need it. So we're just doing our job.
We're just doing our job as American heroes.
Exactly.
But so let's talk
again. Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your career in the wrestling industry. What was your intro into that world, and from your career, over a decade, what would you have said was your favorite memory in your moment in your career?
So I kind of tripped and fell into it by accident, to put it bluntly. I was always a fan. I was always a fan as a kid. I grew up watching Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Roddy Piper and Sergeant Slaughter and that era of WWF wrestling, and took a hiatus for a little while, got back in the Attitude Era, Nitro, Monday Night Wars. When WCW closed down and TNA Wrestling a couple years later opened up here in Nashville with Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Jarrett and Vince Russo and that crew that started that company, which if you take a look, to fast forward a little bit, there's a lot of WWE talent that's old TNA talent. So they really did get some good, phenomenal wrestlers up there. But when they first opened their doors, I was in school at Western Kentucky University. Go Big Red.
Oh, this is an MTSU podcast, buddy. We didn't know.
Look, not everybody's perfect. I'm glad I can still class up the joint a little bit. Raise the IQ quotient of the show a little.
Well, a whole lot. You've raised it a whole lot. It's gone up from 0. We can't even put it into percentage.
But yeah, so I was in Bowling Green. A buddy of mine and I found out about the shows that were being taped or broadcast live from the fairgrounds in Nashville, and we would commute back and forth every Wednesday. We'd get out of class. Hop in my car, drive down from Bowling Green, watch the show, head back home. Eventually, I don't even know how we did this, but eventually we worked our way into showing up to the after parties after all the show. I have no idea how we did it. Again, tripped and fell into it.
Act like you belong, and then you can go anywhere.
It got to the point, not only were we at the after parties, but we're taking some of the boys to the parties because they didn't have another ride. So they're just hopping I'm like, all right, sure, yeah, hop on in, Conan, let's go. And so fast forward, I was in school to be a writer. And so my idea was, well, I'll get into the business this way. I'm not a huge athlete. I was not pumping iron at the time. I was not, Hulk Hogan size at all. So I'll go backstage. I'll be a writer. And the next thing I know, I'm in the training, in the fairgrounds training with Cowboy James Storm. And 12, 13 years later, I'd somehow made a small weekend warrior career out of it.
Well, that's awesome. So looking back, do you have a favorite moment, in your career, just when, looking back maybe after a match, you say, wow, that was awesome. Anything that sticks out?
Well, sadly, my matches didn't last very long because I actually got myself injured pretty early on. So I started working more as a manager, as an announcer, as a referee. I did a lot of peripheral stuff for the majority of my career. But I'd say probably, gosh, you ask me this tomorrow, it'll probably change because every time I think about it, a new memory comes up. Courtney loves it when I sit here and go through and I go, oh, yeah, remember this one? No, I don't remember that. Let me tell you this other one. I forget a lot of it because I did get hit in the head a lot. But gosh, I would say actually probably one of my favorite memories, and this one, I don't think Courtney's heard this one. I was actually refereeing at the time, but I got to sit, well, not sit, I was reffing, but I got to be I really had the front row seat for a match that was put on at the fairgrounds against AJ Styles and Michael Shane. I don't know if you guys know who Michael Shane was.
Yeah.
But I was the ref for that match. And of course, AJ goes over with Shane being the heel, and Shane got so quote unquote pissed at the ref, he threw me in.
There you go. That's awesome.
So, but I got to say, I mean, there were points, I can remember points in that match of me having to tell myself, oh, that's right, you're in this.
You've got a job to do here.
Yeah.
You're not watching this.
No, I'm leaning up against the turnbuckle watching what's going on, and all of a sudden, a submission hold gets locked in. Oh, that's my job. Okay.
I'm in this. So what would you say probably was your worst wrestling injury?
The one that took me out. The one that really took me out of actively competing in matches. The spot was I was supposed to be taking a tombstone pile driver from one of the wrestlers, and we messed up. I don't blame him. He doesn't blame me. It's just one of those things that happens. And instead of landing safely, I bounced off my head. And my head glanced off the canvas. All of my weight came down on my neck. I didn't break it, but there was a hairline fracture in my neck. I suffered a concussion and found out a few years later I had compressed my spine and bulged out one of my discs.
Wow.
That's one that I still deal with today. That's one.
That's a long-term injury.
It really is. I eventually got it checked out, and my doctors told me, you can keep doing this or you can walk. And it still took me about 4 or 5 years to make the decision. So yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah. I've got a lot of them have healed up by now, but I had some nasty scars from some of the matches that I was in.
Yeah.
But nothing. Fortunately, I didn't end up looking like New Jack or Dusty Rhodes with all the scar tissue on the forehead.
Yeah, I remember back in high school, I read a book. I believe it's called the Rise and Fall of ECW. Man, yeah. they had some great interviews in there. They were talking to Mankind, I guess Mick Foley at the time, and just the gruesome injuries that they'd have to go through just to, entertain people and, put smiles on people's faces and put butts in the seats. And it's not easy, watching what these guys go through. I remember, watching, hell, just one of my favorite matches ever, Taker versus Mankind, Hell in the Cell. It takes balls to pretty much commit to being thrown off that thing. So,
really just straight shoot with you guys. It's just a typical wrestling match. You're gonna hurt after that thing because you need to have there's a certain level of crazy to get inside that squared circle and get thrown around and then pop up for some guys the next day or maybe the next 2 days and go, yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and even if you do everything right and the moves are perfect and everything, I mean, you're still slamming somebody into the ground, so so how did you get this Ultimate Predator gimmick? What has this been something you've done from the start, or is this something that you worked into and you said, I'm going to start doing this?
No, it started out as a joke for me. I had decided it was time to get out of the business. I'd had enough. Some of the places I was working, the politics were getting a little too stringy and manipulative. And look, guys, this isn't my career. I've got an actual paying job. I don't need this. I'm stepping away. So, but I found out that I was missing something. There was a hole that I needed something and something creative. And I went to a game and I found the first mask I ever wore at the pro shop in the arena. Which the mask I'm currently wearing is a variation of that original look. So if you've seen the mask I'm wearing now, imagine that mask basically as a sock that I was putting over my face. And I saw it and I went, oh, this would be kind of funny. I'll just do this. I'll walk around with the mask on and I'll be masked wrestler hockey guy. And didn't have a name, didn't have a plan. This will be fun for me. And like 5 of my other buddies. And actually, at one point, I think Maverick had me up, and I did the Enterprise hat trick, and We came up with a brief name like Hockey Libre, or just something stupid. And I don't remember what it was, but it was something stupid. And I had my Preds jersey, and I had my shoot name on the back of it at that point because there wasn't a gimmick yet. It was just a joke for me, and like I said, about 4 or 5 other buddies, and slowly just kind of took over in my head and was like, I could probably do a little more with this.
Yeah.
So, one year I added custom shoes, and one year I got the belt made, and the masks are made. I've got 2-3 masks now, including the original. And actually at one point, the original mask is not very well made. I contacted the company that makes the masks and bought like 10 of them from them in bulk. So I think I've got about 2 of those left. They don't last very long. I auctioned one off for charity, and Chris Mason actually bought it. And I got to give a quick shout out to Mace. He's been a big supporter of mine almost from the beginning, and encouraged me along the way. And so, quick tip of the cap, tip of the mask, shout out to Mace. But yeah, so it just kind of grew from there. And really what happened to make it a thing was the Stanley Cup final, was that run, that playoff run. Every game I'd show up a little bit earlier to be a part of the spectacle, and this camera notices me, this writer notices me, this other person from whatever notices me. And by the time it was all said and done, I was getting Canadian media, I was getting Australian media, I was getting USA Today. I think I ended up in, there was one really, really weird one that I was like, really? Oh, Wall Street Journal. I ended up in the Wall Street Journal.
They were just coming to you for your financial prowess, man. That's what that was.
Yeah. And hell, you even I remember you got onto a bit on NBC on one of their promos. Seeing you on there.
They've cut my face in commercials. Actually, Jamie Hirsch from NHL Tonight sat down and did we did a stand-up interview with me out in front of the Smash Car for the Stanley Cup final. And I think that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
That I did. But yeah, my face has been all. I was on a St. Louis Blues promo for their pregame. Video. And I'm sitting there watching this going, why am I in St. Louis? And then someone's like, oh yeah, no, you're in Anaheim too. We saw you in Boston. We saw you. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's like, you guys know that I'm not just a general hockey guy, right?
I mean, I get it. The Blues and the Preds kind of have that similar color scheme, but still, there's a big cat head on my face.
Yeah. I mean, that's not. That's totally typical of St. Louis.
Yeah,
you can't put it past those guys. They don't.
So, what was it like getting the call from the Preds for you to become the official Lucha and start working with the organization?
That was like the pinnacle dream moment, like I said, I started this thing as a joke. I never, and I still don't take it I take it seriously, but I don't take it very seriously.
I mean, as seriously as you can take it with just being a guy that wears a mask and loves hockey.
I'm the first to pick fun at what I do. Like, I am the first person. So, you're an idiot. You wear a mask. Like, yeah, no crap.
Sure, of course. You got a beer, man? What's up?
Anaheim fan comes at me and goes, yeah, your name is stupid and you wear a mask. I'm like, yes, I know.
Except for you know me and you know who I am. So who does that really make stupid?
But to get that call, it happened right around the time that Maverick decided he was going to focus more on his family and left the team. And there was that hole that was left for the in-game host. And I pitched it to Sean Henry and said, Mr. Henry, I'd like to throw my name in the hat. I don't know who I need to talk to on this. And so he said, well, let me forward you over to the right people. So came down to a process of a couple of us, and they decided to go with Deanna Kay at the time, who is a dear friend and I love very, very dearly and have nothing but love and support for her. But they called me in and said, hey, we don't have this host gig for you, but would you mind being kind of our social media hype guy? Can you get in on this for us and cut your videos and do your promos and do it in a slightly more official capacity? And I said, tell me where to sign. I didn't even have to hesitate to think about that.
Yeah.
And First person I called was first person you call when that happens is your mom.
Right. Gotta let her know the good news. Well,
and yeah, so I mean, it was I drove down to Bridgestone that day, and if you go back far enough, I mean, it's been a few years. I actually Twitter documented, live stream, whatever, that entire day, and put pictures of, here I am at Bridgestone. What am I doing at Bridgestone on a non-hockey day at 10 o'clock in the morning? Oh, I'm signing a contract.
Just my job. No big deal. No big deal. Well, that's awesome.
It's been fun.
So I want to talk a little bit more about wrestling, and this is something that I think every wrestling fan has done, whether it's with action figures as a kid, on the GameCube, on PlayStation, on Xbox. If you could create any style of match using any wrestler from any era at their peak, what kind of match and who would you put on the card?
Oh God, the full card? Oh Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry, just the one match.
Just main, yeah. Headlining match.
Sorry.
Man, I tell you, I there's a lot. I would love to see some of the over the top 80s talent go to head in their prime with some of the guys that are going out now. I would love to have seen Ricky the Dragon Steamboat take on AJ Styles, both in their prime. I would have loved to have seen Mach, Randy Savage, take on Daniel Bryan in their prime. I would love to see I can't think of a fourth to put in this, but a 4 horseman type stable with Dusty, Cody, and Dustin. And I don't know, make up put Brandy in there for a fourth or whatever. Take that kind of stable, because there was so much talent, not only in the ring, but you put Dusty on the mic and I mean, he can make anything look good. There's so much. I would love to see some of that crossover talent.
Yeah. I think for me, and this is actually a match I've put on, many times playing the games. And that would be obviously a Hell in a Cell. To me is the ultimate match in wrestling. And that would be a 4-way, Undertaker, Sting, Mankind, and Shawn Michaels. For me, would just be a pay-per-view for the ages. Yeah, I mean, you could just have that one match at Survivor Series and it would sell out.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. For sure. I've always been a fan. I like the Hell in the Cells. I like the gimmicky matches. I've always been a fan of just two guys going at it. My favorite match of all time has been and forever will be WrestleMania 3, Savage Steamboat for the Intercontinental title. That was a killer match in my opinion.
Yeah. So yeah, and there was I can't remember all the fighters in it, but it was Diamond Dallas Page, and I believe it was old WCW, and it was like a 3-tiered cage match. One of the craziest thing, and
the one that they did to promote Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, and it was who was it? It was a wrestler in there who's now an actor.
It was Page? I think Luger may have been in it. David Arquette.
Yeah, David Arquette. Yeah. And I think, it was craziness. And I remember watching that and just being blown out that this is actually like a thing that's happening. So, and speaking of craziness, and, obviously with coronavirus, WrestleMania had to take the more, they had to make changes. One thing we saw was the cinematic matches. To you, is that something that works going forward? And do you think that's good for the industry? Or is that kind of a one-time thing that you think they just had to do?
They've done it before. Well, WWE hasn't done it before. But it has been done before. If you go back to TNA Wrestling, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Matt Hardy, but they did do the Ultimate Deletion or the Final Deletion cinematic style match for TNA with Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Abyss, Crazy Steve, and did a cinematic style at the Hardy compound for that match. And side note, the man behind that one, the producer behind that one, was the same one for the Undertaker Styles Boneyard match from Mania.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch the Final Deletion, you'll see it's kind of the same setup, kind of the same shots, the same concept. So it played really well with it. I think it works for certain spots, for certain people. Can you put Daniel Bryan and The Miz in a hippie in the forest match and make it cinematic? You can, but it's going to look dumb. But those characters that have that supernatural, that psychological element to them, Bray Wyatt, Undertaker, Sting, I'm trying to think of like Jimmy Jacobs in AEW. Those type of wrestlers, I think you can do more with that because it fits their gimmick. It fits the character. It fits the style. But, you know, like I said, you put Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat in a cinematic match, it ain't going to make sense.
Yeah. So my favorite wrestler of all time has been Undertaker ever since I was a little kid. And it feels like every 3 years his name pops back up and I end up watching it. But personally, and I don't know if you feel the same way or if, you know, in the people in the industry feel the same way. It's time for Vince to let him retire. Honestly, I mean, eventually this is going to catch up to him. It probably already has. What are your thoughts on, you know, of him? I get to Taker. This might be, you know, borderline an addiction, you know, the adrenaline rush. Do you think it's time that Vince lets, you know, probably the greatest of all time to just let him retire? Or do you like the fact that they keep bringing him back in?
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. From someone who was nowhere near at that level, I still, you know, every now and then I'll see something or I'll talk to an old buddy of mine or, you know, I'm kind of sort of booked for a show that's been canceled twice now because of the virus pandemic. It's hard to get out. It's just hard to get out.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that feeling of hearing your music play that you know is crafted or written specifically for you and walking out and getting that reaction, whether it's cheering, whether it's booing, you know, if you're face heel, whatever that there's nothing that beats that. And it's an incredible addictive feeling. And so I think it's hard. And I think it's on both accounts. You know, Undertaker is and probably will always be a tremendous draw for that crowd, for WWE forever. You know, he could be 80 years old in a wheelchair. You hear that gong and you're like, oh, nope,
yeah.
That's it. I'm in. So it's hard. It's hard to say. You look at a guy like Ric Flair who just can't do it anymore, but he's still trying. Well, he's not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard for a wrestler to let it go. It's hard to move on past that. And sometimes you just need that rush. And as far as Vince is concerned, as long as they're clearing medical stuff, he's not going to tell a guy no.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard. Is it time for him? Maybe. Probably. It probably was a couple of years ago, but they did a great job at the Boneyard match. You know, it's just hard to do. It's hard to break away.
Yeah. So we've got two last questions in the wrestling world. And a lot of people like me, Brandon, and a lot of people outside of the industry, sometimes, you know, we have an issue like telling the difference between a work and a shoot. So as someone in the industry, how often do shoots happen and how exactly do you deal with them when they're bad? You know, like the last one I remember is Cody Rhodes cut his face open really bad, taking a fall. How do you kind of communicate with each other? You know, if it's really bad, okay, let's go home. Or if someone, you know, does something, they break kayfabe in the middle of a match. How does that work? You know, especially when it's on live TV or in front of a big audience.
There's a difference in the two scenarios you just laid out. If you are in a match and you get hurt hard way, like you really get hurt, you break an arm, you cut yourself too deep because you hit the ring corner too hard or anything along those lines, that's a different shoot than someone going into business for themselves. You know, you cut yourself too hard, you break an ankle, you break an arm, you let your opponent know. And a lot of times the wrestler can decide on the spot, okay, look, I cut my head open, I'm bleeding like a stuck pig, but I can keep going. I broke my ankle, we need to stop. And you just say it right there. You grab your guy, you put him in the hold and say, ankle's broke. Well, if your ankle's broken, you're probably writhing on the mat.
Yeah.
But, you know, a separated shoulder you can still kind of go with. So you might you lock in a hold real quick and say, look, we need to go home. We need to go home now. And, you know, you communicate it with the ref. You come up with a quick finish on the spot, and the next match gets 2 extra minutes tacked on so you make up time. As far as the other part goes, if in the middle of a match or in a promo, a wrestler decides to go into business for themselves, one, you're not a professional at that point.
Yeah.
You're immediately not a professional. I don't care what level you're on. Even those quote unquote worked shoots that worked in WCW or the pipe bomb promo from CM Punk, they knew what was coming. They knew what was coming. They might not necessarily had known exactly what was going to be said, But the minute you go into business for yourself, you're out. You're done because now nobody can trust you.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like you said,
It is.
I mean,
And
even
even
when,
if you just do it in a promo,
Yeah.
if I decided to, right in the middle of this interview, talk about how much you guys suck because of whatever, you're never going to have me on again.
well, we might because but you would be right though. No, but I absolutely understand. I mean, and like you said, you sustained some pretty tough injuries when everything was going right and you were doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. So I mean, it's a
Now,
dangerous
does it
sport.
happen? Does every now and then, you might get a potato thrown at you in the middle of a match because you did something wrong? Yeah, but that's if I'm working somebody and I do something wrong, if I call the wrong spot or if I'm not listening, they're going to hit me a little bit harder next time because, dude, open your ears.
Right.
Yeah.
This is your job. This is both of our lives on the line.
Right. But they're not gonna knock me out with a one punch shot. They're gonna lay an elbow into my back or something and maybe grind it in a little bit harder, and at the same time say, "Ulti, open your GD ears."
Yeah.
So what would you say? Is there a favorite moment from any recent WrestleMania or any WrestleMania at all that you want to bring up that sticks out in your mind? Maybe.
Mania 3 is always the one for me. Is that Savage Steamboat match? That's always a favorite. I liked the culmination of the Triple H Shawn Michaels rivalry that happened in the late '90s that culminated at WrestleMania. That was a great match. Flair's first retirement, or maybe it was his third, or it could have been his seventh, with Shawn Michaels. The I'm sorry, I love you match. Always stuck out. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think for me, 25 sticks out. Taker and Shawn Michaels, just those two great performers. Just you can tell they could have been in there all day. And obviously, and then again, a year later at the Streak versus the career match was one of my favorites. But
once again, too many shots to the head. I was at 18. Rock Hogan won.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So that was. I don't remember a lot of that one either, but that's for different reasons. That's because Canadian beer is pretty good and it's also pretty cheap.
So,
but yeah, no, I was there for that one, so that one should stick out more than it did.
So when we were in Dallas for the Winter Classic, you helped host a great event at Brain Dead Brewery, and Bobby was lucky enough to have the opportunity to win a jersey.
Yeah.
And
I think you won the small one, didn't you?
He did. Do you remember the lady that tried to make him give up the jersey that was standing behind him? Or no, she didn't know the answer.
Happening. I remember it happening.
Yeah.
You vaguely remember. We always wanted to bring that up with you because it was just so mind-boggling that a grown woman would tell Bobby that she was entitled to the jersey that he won.
Well, and I think, if I remember right, I think she actually ended up getting the second one.
Yeah, you gave her another opportunity. She was in the front of the line and missed the question, and then was mad because Bobby knew the answer.
Well,
to the
she
question.
was behind me, and the two. There was, I believe, I was first in line. I answered the correct, and then the answer she gave out originally, because she was standing behind me and she kind of whispered to somebody, was wrong. She said the wrong answer.
She didn't even.
She would have had the wrong answer if she was first. But yeah, that was.
I couldn't hear any of that part. And you know what? Looking back on it, maybe I could have handled the trivia stuff a little bit better because it was like first come, first serve. But there are people in the back of the bar that there's no way they're getting to me.
Well,
also it was a spur of the moment thing.
Oh yeah,
I had no idea what I was doing.
And there were so many people there. Man.
It was
that
crazy.
That was a hectic event.
I remember. So boiling back on that one a little bit, it was Eric's idea. It was EY's idea originally, and he got in touch with me and said, "Hey, what do you think about we try to get like a Preds party together? I've got this place that's willing to do it. Would you help me out with it?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, absolutely." And so Eric and I he got in touch with Mason and Hal Gill. I got in touch with my people over at Predneck Nation, and all of a sudden this became a little bit bigger than we thought it would be. And because EY's telling me, hey, yeah, Mason's going to be there with Hal Gill, and they're bringing the Fox crew with them.
Yeah, it was
So it'll be
wild, man.
Kieran Hammer and Lindsay Rowley and whoever else wants to tag up. Crazy Kyle, the organist, showed up. We didn't even know he was coming. He just sent me a message like, y'all at Brain Dead Brewery. I'm like, yeah. He's like, cool. And next thing you know, I turn around and there's Kyle.
Yeah, it turned into a little Nashville reunion there, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And I told, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days in advance, I'm talking with Eric, and I said, if you talk to the brewery about how they're handling this, because I think we're going to end up with way more people than we're planning on. He's like, oh, no. They have a capacity of, whatever it was, 500 inside and outside. There's no way we're going to beat that. We're going to be fine.
We were right there on the cusp of it for sure. If it didn't beat that, man.
Courtney and I got there. So we landed in Dallas that day, got to the hotel. I tagged up with my Preds connection because they're the ones that gave me all the giveaway stuff, the jerseys and the pom-poms and the beanies and everything that was just tossed out.
Right.
And, shortly after we hooked up with them, we're on our way to tailgate to Brain Dead. It was about 5 or 6 o'clock ish. As I'm thinking, all right, we'll get set up early. We'll have a bite to eat. We'll have a pop or two. And hopefully by the time we're done with that, people will start trickling in because it was not supposed to start until 9.
Right.
We got there at 6 and didn't have a table until 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's Preds fans for you. We're always down for some sort of event.
I'm telling, and I said, guys, we're gonna have more than you think. We're gonna have, and honestly, hearing you guys say it was cool is cool. I was getting a lot of mixed bag reaction. There were a lot of people that were upset because they couldn't get in, or they were upset because the service was slow, or they were upset because they couldn't hear me, or they heard too much of me. They were upset because Hal and Chris and the Fox crew showed up late. I'm like, guys, I don't have any control over any of this.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, the event itself was done great. You couldn't help the staffing of that place. They didn't call you and ask you to staff them up or anything like that. So in the terms of what you guys could control with that, it was a great event, and the beer was good when we could get it.
Yeah.
So but it was fun to see everybody and talk to everybody, and so we definitely had a big time.
Yeah. And
We're really glad.
I got free beer there because, I had, probably 6, maybe 10 beers, and I was trying to pay, and I went up to the bar and said, hey, I need a tab. And he even said, man, we're way too busy. Just leave. You're good. You didn't have any food. You just had beer to go. So free beer is always good. I made sure I gave him a cash tip right there. But yeah, so I think that this coronavirus is overshadowing the tragedy that happened in Nashville with the tornadoes. I know online that your office was affected. Are things kind of getting back to normal as far as tornado damage is?
Well, that's what I was. I even told the Tennessean. I told Paul Scarbina. I said, listen, I've been working from home before that was mandatory. So slowly but surely, we're coming back up. The virus is, we hit a double whammy. We've had some setbacks, but the professional life is still there. Courtney's still working from home too, so she was affected a little bit, but we're working from home, and we're trying, like we said earlier, we're waiting for that Presidential Medal of Freedom. We're doing our part. We're staying home. But yeah, it's as normal as it can be given the circumstances.
All right. So, this is also a pop culture podcast. So, we always got to ask this, Marvel or Star Wars, if you had to choose.
Man, y'all gave me that question in advance, and I still don't know an answer.
Good, because we're trying to give you some hard-hitting questions. We're journalism experts.
Well, and I love Marvel, and I love Star Wars, but I'm a DC guy. I'm Batman, and Superman, and Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, and the Flash. Shoot.
We'll give you option 3 then.
Yeah, that's
you
awesome.
Take DC
because I'm the same way. Like for me, it's Star Wars first, but it's DC over Marvel. Always has been. So of the DC universe, who's your favorite?
Oh, I'm a bat. I'm definitely a bat. And to go even a little bit sidetracked on that. Well, not sidetracked, but sideways on that. I am a Riddler, Mark.
Okay.
Ah.
Well,
I've got a picture. I'll send it to you guys if you want it. But I've got a picture of me from Halloween a few years back. It's the only cosplay I do. That's not okay.
Well,
I've got the purple domino and the green bowler and the whole kit and caboodle.
That's awesome. So, who's your favorite Batman?
Who's my favorite Batman? You mean like between Bruce Wayne and Jean Paul Valley?
Well, I'm talking Heath Ledger. The actor. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. My bad. I'm in the comic realm. First and foremost, I am an Adam West Batman.
Okay, that's a
Okay.
solid.
Adam West Batman with Kevin Conroy, a very close second.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a Michael Keaton guy.
I'm not gonna.
No, I've got nothing against Keaton, man. Keaton took the grim and gritty and a little bit of comedy, and he turned that thing. I love the '88 Batman,
Yeah.
but I grew up watching '66, so I got to stay with Adam.
Well, because we're so appreciative that you came on the pod, I'm not going to give you any
You're gonna
crap.
pay me?
Oh no. But I'm not going to give you any crap about Batman being your favorite because just recently we did a segment of why I hate Batman. So it'll be good to have some opposing viewpoints on there, man.
But
How can you hate the Bat? He's the only non-super powered member of the Trinity. He's just a guy.
Well, exactly. It's not even that. It's that he's not real with it. Bruce Wayne pretends like he hates Batman, and I don't like that. Like when he's in his restaurant talking shit about Batman and how he's destroying the city. Man, that's you. You're doing that. That's not anybody else. That's your fault.
You gotta keep kayfabe.
yeah, but I mean, I think was it 2 episodes? We had a long segment about it.
We did.
We went back and forth because I'm not
all good.
Yeah.
You guys have great points, and I understand, but it's one of those things. Now it's so deeply ingrained in me that I can never love him, no matter what anybody tells me about him.
All right, guys, this has been an amazing interview with the Ultimate Predator, the official lucha of the Preds, spokes lucha for Goodwood Hockey, and over 10 years of professional wrestling experience. Ulti, it's been great having you, and we hope once we get out of this quarantine to have you in the studio.
Yeah, I'd love to do that for you guys. Y'all make sure to check out goodwoodhockey.com. Every shirt, every hat that they sell, proceeds go to youth inline hockey and youth ice hockey. So guys, get out there. They've got a Tennessee Strong shirt right now. They've got the Geo Sticks and the Nashville Predators colors hat. Get out there, get you some Goodwood hockey and support youth hockey.
Will do.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Ulti, you and Courtney be safe.
You too, guys. Y'all too.
All right, guys. What an awesome interview, man.
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoys the wonderful intro that we had him provide you that you'll hear that you heard at the beginning.
Yeah.
So definitely always nice to talk to old Ulti.
Can't wait for this quarantine to end. We can get some beers with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that takes us into our joke of the week, and this one comes from my home state of Maryland.
Oh yeah, we found this one taking a look online looking for a joke of the week. So basically, and a lot of people thought this was like the Onion type of deal, residents are warned by the police that even during safer at home lockdown situation, you must wear pants to go get your mail. And people just thought, they were just, wearing shorts or no, just hanging loose, just going to snatch up the mail. And like, do you really need whatever's in the mailbox that bad that you're willing to traumatize the 5-year-old neighbor? That's so I guess it was a necessary evil to tell these specific people that you got to wear pants, buddy. I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to have to not look at your dong, sir.
I mean, it's one thing walking out in boxers and underwear.
Sure.
But and pun intended, the balls on these guys.
The balls, the you got. I mean, you would have to imagine they have massive huevos, right? Yeah. So, hey, just a real quick. Can you imagine having to tell grown adults, hey, just a real quick reminder, throw on some pants for your fellow neighbors. That's it.
What a joke.
I mean, wow. Like, you need to get control. I guess those folks, without being able to go get crab cakes at a restaurant, man, they can't handle it up there, can they? They're like, I'm taking my pants off.
All right, so that moves us into what are you binging? I'm pretty far into the X-Men universe right now. I've watched X1, X2, X3, First Class, Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, and I've got, I think next up on my list is Days of Future Past, which I saw it a long time ago. I remember it being good.
Yeah, I had seen I rewatched obviously X-Men and X2 and then First Class pretty recently, but I had seen X-Men and X2 before when I was a little kid. But when we were talking about 2000 and 2003 when these movies came out, I think I saw them at like a drive-in in Watertown. So great movies. Left to be desired. I mean, it was so early in this world of making superheroes or mutants in this instance that X-Men and X2 were just feel like good products for their time.
Yeah, they just don't hold up.
They
now
just
as
don't.
much.
They're just you could have done this or you could have done this. You could have done this. Like X2 to me wasn't that great.
No,
just like
the first two were not bad. Last
and
Stand was good. Kelsey Grammer's character was amazing in Last Stand.
First Class was awesome.
Yeah, I
to
loved
me.
First
Really
Class.
loved First Class. I thought that it was really good. A lot of great actors.
Yeah, I mean
in
James
that.
McAvoy is solid in that.
I think the person that does the best, obviously, is Hugh Jackman again.
Yeah.
And they go to recruit him, and he's like, "Yeah, get out of here." Like, all right. And I mean, since he can read minds, I mean, that was pretty clear. He was like, "Okay, he's serious. He's got metal coursing through his body. He's done with me." So that was pretty good.
But yeah, I've been binge drinking, dude, just energy drinks, man. Work has been so crazy. I mean, I'm waking up, I'm drinking a Reign energy drink with my breakfast. Just skipping coffee, going straight to that.
Yeah. Not me. A little bit of Miller Lite, but I've been grilling a lot. I already told you that. So Omaha Steaks, again, not a sponsor
Yet.
but not for any reason other than they haven't thrown us out a sponsorship. So been grilling a lot. That's been super, super good. Not a lot, man. Just hanging tight. Okay. So let's move into what snaps your stick. Bob, what's snapping your stick these days?
All right. So this came about, I was having trouble thinking of one until on social media after The Last Stand. And that is people talking shit about athletes. And they always say, oh, they shouldn't be making so much money. They're not real heroes, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why? Why shouldn't they make that much money? They're the reason that franchise is making all that money. People shouldn't be paid because of their worth to society. They should be getting paid for their worth to the corporation or whatever corporation they're bringing money into.
Well, and especially in the specific instance, if you're saying, oh, they shouldn't make that much money. Well, it's a couple of things could be happening here. Do you not believe in the free market? Because millions of people do think that they should make this much money because they spend so much money on tickets and jerseys. And so lots of people do think that. But you most certainly can't say, oh, they make too much money and then still go to the game, Jethro. Okay? You can't do that. Because that if you believe that, and that's fine for you to believe it. I see where you're saying you shouldn't say it. Who cares? That's not your money if you're not. But if you're buying a Redskins jersey, bro, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Or your perceived problem that you're creating.
Because here's the thing, those people, I've never seen one post of those people talking about how the owner shouldn't be making that much money.
Right.
They never talk about that. They only bring it up about the athletes not making that much money.
Yeah.
When the owners are bringing in more than 50%.
Well, that and they're having us pay for their stadiums.
Yeah.
I have yet to have NFL players come out and get my city to finance their house that they were building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So obviously these are worlds different, but you got to be thinking about it. If you go to a football game, even if you turn it on TV, if you turn it on your television, I don't care if you have bunny ears and you're not paying for cable or anything, your number of you watching this specific thing goes into the count of people watching this specific thing. And the most money that any NFL franchise gets, or any league, the most money comes from, not from people going to the game, but from TV contracts, from me and you watching it at the house. Teams specifically don't care really if we're not in the stadium, except for the perception of, well, we could be making X more dollars, but it makes people think that we're not making any money because people aren't here in the stadium. Well, that's because Joe, my neighbor, has a 70-inch TV that, Kerryon Johnson is going to come out of the TV and hang out with me for about 15 minutes when he's on the bench. We got all of these. I don't have to wait 30 minutes in line. I don't have to pay $9 for a beer. I can go pay $9 and get a full 12-pack of beers and then not have to get up and miss any of the game while drinking them. And so I'm with you on that. I mean, it's silly. That's what you're deeming that they're worth.
Yeah. So what about you, man?
I didn't really have one either, and this is not really something that like snaps my stick to the point where I wanted to like rant on it, but I just wanted, it was just more of a like, why? Like, this is so weird. No standard size baseball field. Like, why? What is that? Like, it's so strange that, you're perceived as a better pitcher because you pitched at a place where people don't hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
So, like, it goes to the warning track and a lot of people catch fly balls, whereas they were playing in Colorado, for instance. I think that's one of the cities that home runs are hit a lot because of the air. It's either they're hit a lot or they're not hit as much. One of the two.
Something.
But, like, and obviously you can't stop that. You can't, you're going to have to get it on sea level, buddy. Drill down through the mountain and create your, so obviously I'm understanding of that, but like, don't all these extra factors come into play when you got this stadium has 40 extra feet in the, in the right center crevice. If you don't hit it right there, then you're going to, not hit a home run. Or in Boston, I mean, one of the most iconic parts of baseball, it's just like a large green wall. Like, they're just like, let's just put a wall up. How can we stop people from bombing home runs on us? Like, bro, a wall. That'd be dope.
Have you seen, I've seen a lot on social media, the crazy high school baseball fields?
No, see, but like, see stuff like that. Like, that's weird to me that there's not like any kind of set stand. Like, just imagine if like a basketball stadium, like you went to play another team and they had like a weird trapezoid off on the side. It just like irks me that there's never been any, and it's not even, and like you said, it's not even like a standard shape. It's not even like there's this one's a little longer or something like. No, like we've got a whole catacomb of caves over here. That
like
you're
not only are you a professional sport, you're one of the oldest professional sports in this country.
Right.
Like you're a staple sport.
Right. Like, and you guys are the ones, everything's got to be you guys have literally wanted to have like little leather gloves on people's hands, not baseball gloves, because that's what they started playing the game with, That's how traditionalist you are. But you're cool with like a penis shape addition to your outfield.
Like they had the Ocho back on Saturday, and I was watching cherry pit spitting, and they have designated lengths and how everything needs to be set up. So you're telling me that cherry pit spitting is more put together than Major League Baseball?
I guess so, man. I guess so. But the corporate sponsorship isn't there, so so that's your problem. Okay, so what do you got for non-sports, man?
Man, this is something, and I actually went on a rant about this with you and Sass up in Columbus. That is people who don't like Guy Fieri. For years, for almost a decade now, I have said the same thing. Guy Fieri wants one thing in life and one thing only, and that is to take all of us to Flavor Town.
He wants to enter your Flavor Town. Yeah, we're aware, Bobby.
I mean, the dude is awesome. Not to mention he's a fraternity brother, which is dope.
Yeah, for
sure.
But
I mean, he's just a good guy.
That's super dope. That's super dope. But to be fair, he is an honorary.
Oh, is he? No,
I'm pretty sure he's honorary.
We'll fact check that.
We'll fact check it. I mean, either way, it's obviously cool. I'm not bashing honorary brothers. I'm just saying, like, I don't hate Guy Fieri, but I mean, I do hate his frosted tips and him wearing his sunglasses on the back of his head.
Well, he's got a composite. No, he has a composite photo from UNLV in '87.
Okay. Well, on UNLV in '87, I mean, that's a strong endorsement. No, I don't hate him. I do hate his frosted tips, and you know me, Bobby. This is nothing personal. If you wear your sunglasses on the back of your head, I hate you. I just do, man. Put back of your neck, okay, maybe I can see the back, but when you wear them over your ears backwards, like you got four eyes, I hate that. So that's me. That's mostly why
he went to school in Las Vegas. He had to have a backup pair of sunglasses, man.
Sure, and that's fine, but that doesn't make me like it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so no hatred of Guy Fieri.
What you got?
Understandable. that we've had such a hard time watching really any of these X-Men movies, that they're not really available on streaming services. You gotta buy most. And look, I'm not against buying a couple movies or anything like that. That's not what I'm harping on. It just seems like for such a big franchise of movies that you have no presence other than buying and renting. I feel like that's why people can get into the Marvel series, is because you can go watch all these movies on streaming services. And so you may not be able to watch 100% of them unless you have multiple streaming services. But at the same time, like, if I can go and watch a few and get really into something, that's dope. That's so strange to me that it's so,
I mean, I've bought most of them now on Amazon, and I just own them now, whatever. But like a couple of them are free. Well, not free because my Star is an HBO subscription,
right?
So not free.
Yeah,
but
so only, I mean,
but then I have to spend $14 extra for them.
Well, a month. Yeah, $14 a month. So I mean, it's not that I'm saying, I hate buying, I'm going to pirate it or steal it. Like, first of all, like, I can't do all that. It seems like so much work.
Dude, it
like
is.
Learning about stuff.
Here's
and
my thing. All the time, people are like, just pirate it. Like,
people
that's
are
a
like,
lot of work.
Well, see, like,
man.
they're always like, just, get the torrents. I'm like, bro, I don't know what that means.
Like, yeah, I know what it means, but like, that's a lot.
Like, I get it. Like, conceptually, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm not dumb. Like, I conceptually get, like, I don't know, torrent thingy. Like,
yeah.
what do I
Not to
type
mention,
in?
my antivirus lights up that shit. It's like, not today, man. We're not doing that.
Right, dude. Yeah. So,
like, if you do this, you're spending more than $14 on repairing this computer.
So we just want to make it clear, we don't steal movies mostly just because we can't. Yeah, man. It's not like back in the day where like you just like, you gotta get LimeWire, bro, and you just download 100 things and just hope that this was X-Men 1 and not some dude's homemade porn with his mom or something.
I feel like a lot of our we just aged ourselves to a lot of listeners.
We really did LimeWire. That's how we did that. LimeWire, guys.
We did that while we were chilling AIM and
Yeah, I mean, if you want to watch Spider-Man, you could either save up $12 and go see it at the movie, or you could use 36 hours of your life to download Spider-Man and watch some guy film it.
All right, bud. What'd you learn this week?
Oh man, I learned that I love my new grill, bro. It's so dope. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. So
hopefully soon we can get a Traeger sponsor and get some Traegers up in here.
Yeah, well,
listeners.
It's an expert grill is what it's called, and so like that makes me feel really good about myself. So, what about you, man? Learn anything
I learned that,
special?
Fellow Marylanders don't like wearing pants. Crab cakes
Only to get the mail.
Crab cakes and football and not wearing pants. That's what Maryland's about. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. This has been another episode of the Pucks Out Podcast. Have a great time. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.